Hello everyone, this is Dawn over at Plot Chronicles by Dawn. I want to use Mondays as my favorite author day. I wrote down a bunch of video ideas of what I call themes to do, and I have a whole bunch written down. I'll share that maybe on another video, but I want Mondays, I think, to be favorite authors, and I'll tell you some of the books that and the reason I would pick a favorite author is it's an author that I really like most all of their books, okay? And so that's kind of what I'm going to dedicate Monday to. And what I did is I went back and I reread one of her books, and it is really good. This particular author I'm about to share, I like every single one of her books, and I've read, I think, everything that she's written in this genre. Her name is Sally Hepworth. She's an Australian writer, and she does write more than what I would call thriller / mystery. And one of the things I noticed is, and I may be mistaken and correct me if you think I'm wrong, I noticed many of the writers from Australia or the UK, in their writing, they don't have lots of swearing or lots of, extra explicit romance, I'll call it, okay? You get what I mean. They're very classy in the way they talk about things. Like one of the writers, I think I told you, they talked about something, they say they were in a state of undress. I just loved how they said that. But they don't go on and on about 10 pages of detail about it, which I find refreshing. Sally Hepworth is the same thing. I would say pretty family friendly, nothing offensive. I just recently read one of her books. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to tell you some of the names of some of the books that she's written, but The Mother-in-Law, which I really like, and I just reread it, and I want to tell you about that quickly. Darling Girls, The Soulmate, The Good Sister, love that book. The Younger Wife, you can imagine what that one's about. And The Family Next Door. Read all of them, loved all of them. One of the things, and you guys know I love this in a book, one of the things I love about her is she doesn't have tons of characters. I need a simpler plot, and I need less characters in a book. That's what works for me. Every one of us is different, okay? Also, her character development is excellent. I love books that you really get to know the characters and you're rooting for some of the characters, okay? But this book is that I read just recently, and I reread it. I'm starting to reread some of my favorite books so that I can share them with you, because if I read something 5 years ago, I'm going to have to go back and review it. I'm not going to remember it. But The Mother-in-Law is really good. It's about a lady that she, gets married to this guy. They have a really good marriage. Everything's great. But her mother-in-law is very critical. But the good thing about this book is you go back into the mother-in-law's life and the daughter-in-law, and you kind of get to know about them as characters, what their past was like, so you get to know them. I actually really like the mother-in-law. She seems very critical, but if you get to know why she's critical, I kind of found her to be a very endearing character, and because she's kind of like, how would I describe her? She's like tough on the outside, but a teddy bear on the inside. Do you know people like that? My father's kind of like that. But the mother-in-law ends up being unalived. And they thought that, hey, this was something she did to herself. But they find out that no, somebody unalived her. And so it's kind of the mystery of that. It's a really, really good book. I highly recommend this author. I'm going to put her in the description. I've liked every one of her books. Let me ask you guys, have you read any of Sally Hepworth's books? She writes, I guess, about one book a year, so she doesn't write as many. But they are really character driven. You get to really know them, and there's a plot twist, so it's really interesting, very engaging, and it gets you from the beginning, and there's no lags or boring parts throughout the books. So let me know what you guys think. I'd love to know what you're reading right now. Love you, appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.